Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. I just wanted to do a quick video. I took a little break here. I took a short trip out to California, back now, and took a little break from the internet. But I just wanted to do a short video on my opinion of the State of the Union address that happened last night, so February 7th, um, uh, with President Biden. So I just wanted to point out a few things that I thought that were interesting or kind of strange. But um, the State of the Union is always like just kind of bizarre to me. It's always, you have the Democrats and the Republicans, and depending on who the president is, you have people on either side there who are, displaying their sense of whatever their dissatisfaction for whoever is the president at the time, and it's just like a big kind of like shit show, honestly. But this one, I thought was kind of interesting because of the current times that we're in, and just I don't know how many people watched it, but I'm assuming that quite a few people watched it. So, the first thing I wanted to point out that I thought was hilarious is like Bono was there. So I don't know why Bono was there, but he seems to be involved in a lot of events, especially when it comes to political and world leaders. But Bono was there. Um, they had a few other guests, um, and one of them, or one interaction that I thought was kind of bizarre, was when everybody was coming in. Jill Biden greeted Kamala Harris's husband, and they had kissed on the lips. I don't know. It was just kind of like creepy, kind of weird. But uh, anyways, uh, as far as Biden's speech and how that went, it seemed like the overall tone um, was kind of setting the American public up for um, people to become more comfortable with the idea that we are going to become less reliant on China. He didn't mention I don't believe the incident that happened recently here in the US with the balloon, whether it was a spy balloon or weather balloon or whatever it was. Um, but that I don't believe that that was mentioned. But there definitely was a lot of talk or rhetoric in the speech of the U.S. becoming less reliant on China. So, you know, uh, I think that that is probably a good thing as far as like manufacturing and things like that coming back to the US. And he had pointed out in the speech, so whatever billions that are being spent on bringing back whatever it is, microchip manufacturing, or things like that in the US. So uh, I think that's definitely good. But then also at the same time, I think a lot of the manufacturing that is going to be coming back to the US, or whatever that is probably going to be heavily automated, I would imagine. So yeah, it might bring in a lot of, short-term construction type jobs, but in the long run, I don't know if it's ever going to go back to whatever the heyday in the US of when we were at our peak manufacturing, and when we were uh, the seller to other countries as far as global trade, and we were the ones that were producing the most. I don't know that that is ever going to go back to what it was. I don't know. It'll be interesting. But they mentioned, Biden also mentioned, investments into infrastructure, and talked about how the US, I think he had said, is ranked 13th, something like that, in the world on infrastructure, when we used to be number 1. Um, and a number of other just talking points on spending. And the thing that I think is funny is like Biden had mentioned at one point in the speech about how during his administration, um, whatever, they decreased the amount of spending that the government. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what administration is in office. It seems like no matter whether it's Republicans or Democrats, they're always increasing the national debt. When there's always whatever, you go back to George W. Bush, there's a new war, or you go to Obama and they're uh, bailing out whatever big corporations, big industries in the U.S. Whatever, you go from presidency to presidency, and it seems like no matter what the ideology of your party is, the the spending always increases. There's always more military budget, whatever. So again, it'll be interesting to see what happens in Ukraine and the U.S.'s aid to Ukraine, and if that continues to grow and to develop, and what happens with that. I mean, that could be a huge amount of spending that the U.S. government um, is going to do. So, um, I think they were in Biden's speech. He's trying to rejuvenate people's hope for the future in the U.S., which I think is a good thing. I do not think that he is going to run again, in my opinion. I've heard people say, whatever, political pundits in the media speculating on if he's going to run again. I think he's too old. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't see him. Um, I don't see him going for another term. Now, whether they try to Kamala Harris tries to run for president, or what candidate that the Democrats try to push. I think that's to be determined. And same with the Republicans, who their top candidate is. If it's DeSantis or Trump or whatever, somebody else throws their name in the ring. But I think whoever the next president is or the next administration, they're going to have a lot of shit on their hands. So also depending on what develops, in the rest of the world, if you have China and Russia, India, other countries, kind of partnering, um, and the U.S. is no longer the reserve currency. I think that could be not good for U.S. citizens overall. The prospects of this country. I mean, we're in debt. Um, we got a lot of stuff going on all over the world, military bases, responsibilities. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But overall, just as far as Biden's pitch of, the government reinvesting in, the U.S. itself and bringing back manufacturing, yeah, that sounds great. But what really becomes of all those ideas, I think, is to be determined. So I think there's a lot of game left, I guess, in determining the trajectory of the future of this country. So also one other thing I thought was kind of funny was our I'm in Arizona, so our senator Kirsten Sinema, who always is in her best outfits and kind of dresses to stand out, I guess you would say, was in this bright yellow peacock type outfit. So everybody could see her and notice her there. So that was it's just like a freak show, honestly. Like the whole thing is it's just I don't know, it's just a freak show. So one thing that I think honestly would help in this country is if there was a genuine third party that could compete with the Republicans and Democrats, because it's just become such a, you know, like you're rooting for your football team type of mentality. And you see it when you watch things like the State of the Union, where, you know, you have people who won't acknowledge the other side's accomplishments or whatever. You don't stand up, you don't clap or whatever you because that's not your team. It's just like the mentality is so childish. And it's sad, honestly, when you see the mentality of these politicians at whatever side it's on. So it'd be nice if there was another party that had some genuine power that could come in and challenge or at least diversify some of that power that either the Republicans or Democrats have. So um anyways, those are just kind of off the top of my head thoughts of the State of the Union. Bono was there, so good thing Bono was there. He helped out quite a bit, and you know, um, like I said, it'll be interesting to see politically what happens in the future in this country. Um, but definitely a lot going on. So I'm not like honestly 100% super super involved in politics just because it's so toxic. I try to learn and pay attention as much as I can. Um, but it's so fucking toxic. So, you know, again, I try to learn as much as I can. It's hard, um, honestly, in these current times when you're watching the mainstream media. That's why I like to watch. Um, kind of alternate independent outlets. Secular Talk is one of them on YouTube that I like to watch. Another one, Jimmy Dore, he's a comedian, but he has a political um, channel. And again, those are two more liberal ones, but there's other ones that are popular. Tim Pool on YouTube. I like to listen to both sides, and I don't consider myself to be a Democrat or Republican. I am an independent. I'd vote for either party if there was a candidate that I thought was that I thought was genuine. But it's like at the end of the day, again, it goes back to, for the most part, at least for decades, whatever these candidates say, at the end of the day, um, it seems like they're always going to be supporting big business, Wall Street, and again, that's Biden mentioned that in his State of the Union. He's like, "Oh, I know, for whatever decades, middle class people have felt left out, poor people, working people in this country, and we're here to change that," and blah blah blah. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of action. So Biden seemed like he's taken a page out of Bernie Sanders' book or the Democrats, and they're trying to speak more to the working class and not just the so-called elite of this country. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see who the top Democratic candidate is in the next election, and what their basically sales pitch is. One other thing I wanted to mention too that Biden had brought up was oh fuck, now I'm blanking out. I just thought of it. Um, oh, he had brought up oh god, just slipped my mind. Um, investment into, anyways. I guess that's all I have for now. I totally lost track there, but anyways, I'm sure you could find the speech online. I don't know, probably 30 minutes or so, and I'm going to continue at this here in the future. And that's it for tonight. All right. Peace. Thanks, guys.